Iran signals defiance as the US seizes $500 million in crypto assets, and the standoff in the Strait could last months as the price of oil gets higher and higher. But are US taxpayers footing the bill for a war without an end? Here's what you need to know.
Now they have to cry uncle. That's all they have to do, just say, we give up. We give up. But their economy is really in trouble. It's a dead economy.
No more Mr. Nice Guy. That's the latest post from US President Donald Trump. 2 months into a war that killed thousands, displaced millions, and shocked the global economy. A war that he chose to start. And while a ceasefire remains in place and mediation efforts continue, the stalemate in the Strait of Hormuz could become our new reality. Trump has rejected Iran's latest proposal to end the war and is considering instead a months-long blockade of Iran's ports. His Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, says $450 million in Iran's cryptocurrency assets were seized by the US as a maximum pressure sanctions campaign tries to sink its economy. Iran's government has continued to hold rallies in the capital almost every night, dismissing US threats and saying they won't allow division to be sown within the country. But there is a quiet crackdown happening in the background. The UN says 21 people have been executed and 4,000 arrested in Iran since the US-Israeli war began. At least 9 were executed in relation to widespread anti-government protests that rocked the country in January. Many others were charged with espionage or treason since the outbreak of the war in late February.
We are appalled that on top of the already severe impacts of the devastating Israeli-US attacks on Iran, the rights of the Iranian people continue to be stripped from them by the authorities in harsh and brutal ways.
In a fiery congressional hearing, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth was asked to justify the spiraling costs of the war. The Pentagon estimates at least $25 billion was spent in the last 2 months, mostly on munitions. But some reports say the true cost is much higher and doesn't account for the damage sustained by US bases in the region. But Hegseth was dismissive of criticism. Instead, he wants a record $1.5 trillion defense budget next year.
The president has got himself and America stuck in the quagmire of another war in the Middle East. He's desperately trying to extricate himself from his own mistakes.
You should know better. Calling this a quagmire 2 months in. The effort, what they've undertaken, what they've succeeded, the success on the battlefield that could create strategic opportunities, the courage of a president to confront a nuclear Iran, and you call it a quagmire, handing propaganda to our enemies?
And as the US prepares for a prolonged naval blockade, the price of oil briefly reached $122 a barrel, its highest since the conflict began. That's it from me today. Stay with us on Al Jazeera for all your updates in the war on Iran.